Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7, Verse 36. Kalena milita diyam avrashya nrinam stokayasam svanigamo bhata duraparaha avirhitastva anuyugam sahi satyavatyam vedadrumam vitopasho vipa jishyati sma.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Dandvat Pranam. The Lord Himself, in His incarnation as the son of Satyavati, Vyasadeva, will consider his compilation of the Vedic literature to be very difficult for the less intelligent persons with short life. And thus he will divide the tree of Vedic knowledge into different branches according to the circumstances of the particular age.
Devadvisam nigama vatmani nishthitamam Purbi mayena vividhabhir adrishya turbihi lokan ghanatam nati vimoham ati prolobham vesham vidhyaya bahubhashyata opadharmayam.
When the atheists, after being well versed in the Vedic scientific knowledge, annihilate inhabitants of different planets, flying unseen in the sky of well built rockets prepared by the great scientist Maya, the Lord will bewilder their minds by dressing himself attractively as Buddha and will preach on sub religious principles.
Yarhi alaisveapi satam nahare katha syuhu Pashundino dvija jana vrishalan hridevaha Svaha svadha vashad iti sma girona yatra Shasta bhavishyati kaler bhagavan yugante.
Thereafter, at the end of Kali Yuga, when there exist no topics on the subject of God, even at the residences of so called saints and respectable gentlemen of the three higher castes, and when the power of government is transferred to the hands of ministers elected from the low born Sudra class or those less than them, and when nothing is known of the techniques of sacrifice, even by word, at that time the Lord will appear as the supreme chastiser.
Sarge tapoham rashayan navaye prajashaha Sthani tha dharma makhamand amarvana shiha Antetva adharmahara manyuvasha suradya Maya vibhutaya imaha Guru Shakti Bhajaha.
Mataji, can you please scroll up the screen?
Hare Krishna. Sorry, what verse, what text do I scroll up?
39.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry.
At the beginning of creation, there are penance, myself, Brahma, and the Prajapatis, the great sages who generate. Then, during the maintenance of the creation, there are Lord Vishnu, the demigods with controlling powers, and the kings of different planets. But at the end, there is a religion, and then Lord Shiva and the atheist full of anger, etc. All of them are different representative manifestations of the energy of the supreme power, the Lord.
Vishnurnu viraya ghananam katomo arhatiha yaha prartivanyi api kavir imam rajamsi chakshambhyayaha svaraha shakham latatri prashtam yasmatri samaya sadanat urukampa yanam.
Who can describe completely the prowess of Vishnu? Even the scientists who might have counted the particles of the atoms of the universe cannot do so, because it is he only who, in his form of Trivikarma, moved his leg effortlessly beyond the topmost planet, Satyaloka, up to the neutral state of the three modes of material nature, and all were moved.
Nantam vitami ahamami munayo grajaste maya balasya purushasya bhutavaraye gayan gunan desha shatanana adidevaha sheshodhunapi samavashyati nasya param.
Neither I nor all the sages born before you know fully the omnipotent personality of Godhead. So, what can others who are born after us know about him? Even the first incarnation of the Lord, namely Sesha, has not been able to reach the limit of such knowledge, although he is describing the qualities of the Lord with 1,000 faces.
Yesham Shaisha Bhagavan Dhyayedantam Anantaha Sarvam Mana Shrita Padoyati Nirvyalikam Vedustaram Atitaranti Chedevamayam Nesham Mamaham Iti Dhirsva Shrigala Bhakshaye.
But anyone who is specifically favored by the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, due to unalloyed surrender unto the service of the Lord, can overcome the insurmountable ocean of illusion and can understand the Lord. But those who are attached to this body, which is meant to be eaten at the end by dogs and jackals, cannot do so.
Vedaham Anga Paramasya Hiyogamayam Yuyam Bhavascha Bhagavan Ataditya Varyaha Patni Manaha Sacha Munascha Tadatmanchascha Rachina Babhir Ripuranga Utadruvascha Ikshvakur Aila Muchukunda Videha Gadahi Raghavambarisha Sagara Gayana Hushadayaha Mandhatra Alaraka Satadhanav Anuranti Deva Varato Barir Amuratarayo Dilipaha Subhari Utanka Shibi Devala Pipalada Sarasvata Dhava Parashara Bhurishenaha Yenye Vibhishana Hanumandam Hanumand Upendradata Partha Rishistina Vidura Shrutadeva Varayaha.
O Narada, although the potencies of the Lord are unknowable and immeasurable, still, because we are all surrendered souls, we know how he acts through Yoga Maya potencies. And similarly, the potencies of the Lord are also known to the all powerful Shiva, the great king of the atheist family, namely Prahlad Maharaj, Swayambhu Manu, his wife Satyarupa, his sons and daughters like Privavrata, Uthanapada, Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. Parichina Bharbi, Robo, Anga, the father of Veena. Maharaj Dhruva, Ikshvaku, Aila Muchukanda, Maharaj Janak, Gadhi, Raghu, Amrisa, Sagara, Gaya, Nahausa, Mandata, Alarka, Sata Dhanve, Anu, Rantideva, Bhishama, Bali, Amrutarya, Dilipa, Sobhri, Utanka, Sibi, Devala, Pipalda, Saraswata, Udhava, Parashara, Bhuri Sena, Bibhisana, Hanuman, Sukadeva Goswami, Arjuna, Artisena, Vidura, Shruta Deva, etc.
Devai vidanti atitaranti chedevamayam Stri Shudra Huna Sabhara Api Papa Jivaha Yati Adbhuta Karma Parayana Shila Shikshas Tiryat Tiryak Janai Api Kimu Shruta Dharanaye.
Surrendered souls, even from groups leading sinful lives, such as women, the laborer class, the mountaineers, and the Siberians, or even the birds and beasts, can also know about the science of Godhead and become liberated from the clutches of the illusionary energy by surrendering unto the pure devotee of the Lord and by following in their footsteps in devotional service.
Shashvat Prashantam Abhayam Pratibodhamatram Shudham Samam Sadashataha Paramatma Tattvam Shabdona Yatra Purukara Kavan Kriyartho Maya Paraiti Abhimukhe Chavila Jamana Tadvai Padam Bhagavata Paramasya Pumsho Brahmeti Yad Vidur Ajasra Sukham Vishokam.
What is realized as the absolute Brahman is full of unlimited bliss without greed. That is certainly the ultimate face of Supreme Enjoyer, the personality of Godhead. He is eternally void of all disturbances and is fearless. He is complete consciousness as opposed to matter, uncontaminated and without distinctions. He is the principal primeval cause of all causes and effects, in whom there is no sacrifice for fruitive activities and in whom the illusory energy does not stand.
Sadrayaniyam yayatayayama krataheti Jayuhu Swarad Ivani Bana Kanitram Indraha.
In such a transcendental state, there is no need of artificial control of the mind, mental speculation, or meditation, as performed by the Jananis and Yogis. One gives up such processes as the heavenly king, Indra, forgoes the trouble of dig a well.
Shashraye Shamapi Vibhur Bhagavan Yatoshya Bhavasvabhava Vihatsya Sataha Prasiddhi Dehi Svadhatu Vigame Nuvishiryamane Vyomeva Tatra Purusho Navishrayate Jaha.
The personality of Godhead is the supreme master of everything auspicious because the results of whatever actions are performed by the living being in either the material or spiritual existence are awarded by the Lord. As such, He is the ultimate benefactor. Every individual living entity is unborn, and therefore, even after the annihilation of the material elementary body, the living entity exists, exactly like the air within the body.
Soyam te vihitastada bhagavan vishva bhavanaha samashena hari nanyat amyasat sat asachat.
My dear son, I have now explained in brief the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is creator of the manifested worlds, who without him, Hari, the Lord, there are no other causes of the phenomenal and nominal existences.
Idam bhagavatam nama yanme bhagavato ditam sangrahoyam vibhutinam ametad vipuli guru.
O Narada, this science of God, Srimad Bhagavatam, was spoken to me in summary by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it was spoken as the accumulation of his diverse potencies. Please expand this science yourself.
Yatha haro bhagavati nranam bhaktir bhavishyati sarvatmanya kila dhari iti sankalpya varanaya.
Please describe. Please describe the science of Godhead with determination and in a manner by which it will be quite possible for the human being to develop transcendental devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Hari, the super soul of every living being and the summum bonum source of all energies.
Mayam varnayato mushya ishvarasya numudataha shrinvataha shadhaya nityam ayayatmana muhyati.
The Lord's activities in association with his different energies should be described, appreciated, and heard in accordance with the teachings of the Supreme Lord. If this is done regularly with devotion and respect, one is sure to get out of the illusionary energy of the Lord.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for the opportunity to recite. Sorry for any mispronunciation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Gaurangi Gopi Mataji and Rita Mataji for that wonderful recitation. Thank you so much. So there are some PowerPoint slides on the screen. Are they visible to you?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, thank you. So we'll start with the prayers. Please recite prayers with me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agnanatimirandhasya Gnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं कृष्णचैतन्य ईश्वरम् ॐ तत्सत् नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी ततां प्रसङ्गान् मम वीर्यसंविदो भवन्ति हृत्कर्णरसायन कथाः तज्जोषनादाश्वपवर्गवर्त्मनि श्रद्धारतिर्भक्तिरनुक्रमिष्यति My humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees, and I seek your permission and blessings to discuss today's verses. They are very wonderful, beautiful verses today. 3 verses of chapter 7, 40 to 42, 40, 41, and 42. So, for my own purification, I will try to glorify Krishna. Please give your blessings. This chapter 7, first 39 verses, they discuss various incarnations of the Lord. And then the next 3 verses are 6 verses. They have the same theme. It follows that it is impossible to understand the greatness of Vishnu without his mercy. And 40, 41, and 42 follow the same theme that no one can describe the Lord's greatness. Even the example is given is that of Ananta Shesha. Even he could not reach the limit of Lord's glories. And in the next verse, there is it is explained that yes, to know everything is not possible to understand Krishna completely, but to some degree one can. And who can? The one who is surrendered soul, and he can understand a little bit what is required to understand for him by the mercy of the Lord. Then the few shlokas are about Bhagwan is superior to Paramatma and Brahman, and it concludes with dissemination of this knowledge. So we will start with today's verse number 40. So up to the verse 39, Brahma has given a wonderful description of the various avatars of the Lord. And I think I understand the last time I gave session on this chapter was on 6th May, almost 1 month back. Thereafter I was occupied, so I did not take any sessions. I took a break. And I think I had the chance to discuss first 3 incarnations, the first 3 verses. And now today, when I joined, the 39 shlokas have already been completed so beautifully. So today is verse number 40. And so till now, Narad Muni has asked Brahma to describe the manifestation of the universe. And Brahma has described the process of creation, what are its ingredients, the cause and purpose behind creating the universe, the creation, and how Mahavishnu enters the universe as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And thereafter, he has described these avatars who appear within this universe, right? So that is the thread, the link. And now Brahma is going to conclude his talk in this chapter with this 10 to 13 verses. So today's verses, verse number 40. Vishnurnuvirya gananam katamor hatiha yah parthavani api kavir vimame rajamsi Jaskambhayah swarah saskalatatri prishtham yasmatri samya sadana durukampayanam. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Who can describe completely the prowess of Vishnu? Even the scientist who might have counted the particles of the atoms of the universe cannot do so, because it is he only who, in his form of Trivikrama, moved his leg effortlessly beyond the topmost planet Satyaloka up to the neutral state of the three modes of material nature, and all were moved. So there is a small purport. Anyone wants to read?
May I
I
read?
will read, Mataji.
Yeah, sure. Who's Chetna Mataji? I can't see who raised the hand. Please read.
The highest scientific advancement of the material scientist is atomic energy, but the material scientist is not able to have an estimation of the particles of atoms contained in the whole universe. But even if one is able to count such atomic particles or is able to roll up the sky like one's bedding, even then one is unable to estimate the extent of the prowess and energy of the Supreme Lord. He is known as Trivikrama because once, in his incarnation of Vamana, he expanded his leg beyond the highest planetary system, Satyaloka, and reached the neutral state of the modes of nature called the covering of the material world. There are 7 layers of material coverings over the material sky, and the Lord could penetrate even those coverings. With his toe, he made a hole through which the water of the causal ocean filters into the material sky, and the current is known as the sacred Ganges, which purifies the planets of the three worlds. In other words, no one is equal to the transcendently powerful Vishnu. He is omnipotent, and no one is equal to or greater than him. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Chetna Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yes, so such a beautiful verse, and so true that it's not possible to understand Lord's glories completely. So in this verse here we can see Vishnor Virya Gananam Katamor Hatiha. So Iha here, Iha means in this world, and here is Arhati. So Arhati means who has the quality or eligibility to do Virya Gananam, means who can calculate Krishna's greatness or prowess. That's what this first line of the verse means. So who has the ability to calculate sufficiently Krishna's glories, his qualities, his names, forms, prestige? It's very, very difficult. So how difficult it is? And then this verse says very nicely that you can count the number of atomic particles in this world. Can anyone count how many atoms are in this world? No, it's not possible. But even if we think, say, suppose it is possible for us, still counting the qualities of Krishna is even more difficult, because the number of qualities, pastimes, glories of Krishna is much more than the number of atoms in this universe. So that's what this verse is summarizing. So, to that degree, describing Krishna is so impossible. And then it says here, Yah Parthivanyapi Kavir Vimame Rajamsi. Even for argument's sake, say if you admit that there are great philosophers or there are great scientists, they might count all the Rajasa. Here it says, right, Rajamsi. That means all the dust particles in the universe. Still, they will not be able to count all the glories of Krishna. So, Krishna has unlimited qualities. So in this regards, once Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went to Vrindavan Yatra. And when he entered Vrindavan, he saw a tree. And on top of that tree, he saw 2 birds. And these two birds were two parrots. The male parrot is called Shuka, and the female parrot is Sarika. And the male parrot is describing Krishna's qualities, and the female parrot describes the qualities of Radharani. So here the male parrot sings this beautiful verse, which goes very nicely with the theme of verse 14. सौन्दर्यं ललनालिधैर्यदलनं लीलारमास्तम्भिनी वीर्यं कन्दुकिताद्रिवर्यममला पारे परार्धं गुणाः शीलं सर्वजनानुरञ्जनमहो यस्यायमस्मत्प्रभुः विश्वं विश्वजनीनकीर्तिरवतात् कृष्णो जगन्मोहना. So here he is describing the 6 categories of Krishna's qualities. So the first quality is Saundaryam. With personal and physical beauty of Krishna, Krishna completely makes all the gopis of Vrindavan restless, and they helplessly get attracted to Krishna because of his beauty. So that is the first category of the quality of Krishna. The second one is his Leela. Right? So the Leela is, Krishna's Leelas are so great that even goddess of fortune will get astonished seeing Krishna's Leelas. Then it says Viryam Kanduki Tadri Varyam Amala Pare Parardham Guna. So Viryam. Viryam means Krishna's strength. Krishna is so powerful and strong that he can make a great mountain look like a small ball. He can lift Govardhan mountain, right? Just like a ball. Like how effortlessly a little child can lift a rubber or a plastic ball. Like that Krishna can lift Govardhan mountain. Then it says Parardham Gunaha, which means Krishna's qualities are unlimited. There is no limit to it. And then Sheelam Sarva Jananuranjanam. Sheelam, that Sheela means character. So Krishna's character is so sweet that even devtas or demons or anybody will get attracted to it. And then it is Asmat Prabhu, which means that our Prabhu, our dear Krishna, our master is so glorious. And Vishwam Vishwajanina Kirtiravatat Krishno Jagan Mohana. So this means Krishna's fame, Kirti. He is source of sustenance of this entire universe, and his fame, it beautifies, it animates and induces life into this universe. Because of Krishna, there is life in this universe, and he sustains the universe. So this is how we can see how it is so unlimited. And even Akrura, when he enters Vrindavan, when he goes to Vrindavan, he says something similar in the 10th canto. He says, Yasyakhilamivah habhisu mangalaihi vacho vimishra guna karma janmabhihi prananti shumbhanti punanti vai jagat Yastad Virakta Shavashobhana Mataha, which means that Krishna's glories, like Prananti, they induce life into this universe and they animate the universe. Otherwise, the universe is inanimate. The universe cannot work if there is no prana put in by Krishna. And Shumbhanti means they beautify Krishna's beauty beautifies the universe. The only beauty in this universe is Krishna's glories, Krishna Katha. They purify the universe. The way to purification in this material world is to hear Hari Katha constantly. That's what it means. But if our words, they are devoid of Krishna's glorification, then they are just like decorations on the dead body. So in this verse, Brahma says it's very difficult to count the glories of Krishna. So that is verse number 14. And then we will come to verse number 41. Nantam vidamyaham ami munayo grajaste maya balasya purushasya kuto varaye gayan gunandasha satanana adi deva shesho dhunapi samavasyati nasya param. Neither I nor all the sages born before you know fully the omnipotent personality of Godhead. So what can others who are born after us know about him? Even the first incarnation of the Lord, namely Shesha, has not been able to reach the limit of such knowledge, although he is describing the qualities of the Lord with 1,000 faces. And there is a purport. Someone wants to read? Okay. Yeah, okay, Ashwini Mataji.
Purport. The omnipotent personality of Godhead has three primary potencies, namely the internal, external, and marginal potencies, with unlimited expansions of these three energies. As such, the expansions of his potencies can never be calculated by anyone because even the personality of God himself, as the incarnation of Sesha, cannot estimate the potencies, although he has been describing them continuously with his 1,000 faces. Thank you.
Thank you. So yes, in this verse, see the first line of the verse says, Nantam vidamyahamami munyo grajaste. So Brahma is continuing the dialogue from the previous verse. So previous verse, he simply said that even if you manage to count all the atoms in the entire universe, you will not be able to count the qualities of Krishna. And here he is saying that there is no anta, means there is no end to the glories of the Supreme Lord Krishna. At least I do not know the end, Brahma says. The creator of the universe is saying this. And he says that I don't know the end of Krishna's glories, means even I don't know how many glories he has. They are unlimited. And Munyo Agrajaste, it says, means that Agrajaste means so many sages elder to Narad Muni. So Narad Muni is born to Brahmaji as his son, but before he was born or created, Brahmaji created more sons. So they are the Agrajas of Narad Muni, means his elder brothers. So here Brahma is saying that I can't understand Krishna's glories completely. Your elder brothers can't. And I am sure you also can't understand Krishna's glories completely. And if you can't, your elder brothers can't, and your father, me, even I can't understand, then who can understand in this universe? Nobody. And that is the whole point of this verse, that nobody can completely understand Krishna's glories. And then the second line says that Maya Balasya Purushasya Kuto Varayam. Krishna has mystic strength and opulence, and he is the supreme person, and his glories can't be counted. And if you want the example, here the example is given of Ananta Shesha. So with his 1,000 hoods, that Adi Deva, the foremost manifestation of the Lord as Ananta Shesha, he has been glorifying the Lord's qualities with thousands of heads and thousands of mouths. He has been glorifying Supreme Lord since time immemorial, and he will continue to glorify for the rest of eternity. Still, he will not be able to reach the end of Krishna's glories. It's like, we are studying Srimad Bhagavatam. Say, for example, if we start studying today, then even in 10 or 15 years, it's like 18,000 shlokas, right? So, I mean, this is at our level. So the ability of an average human being in this world to understand Krishna is so feeble. It is really feeble in comparison to all these great personalities like Brahma, Narada Muni, four Kumaras, and even Ananta Shesha. If he cannot even enumerate, here he is saying that he is only enumerating all the avtaras and qualities, and he's not even started describing or elaborating on it or giving sessions on it. He says, I can't even enumerate, forget about expanding it. Speaking about describing is like impossible. I'm just trying to enumerate, and I have not reached the end. And I'm doing it since time immemorial, and I'll continue to do for eternity, but it's not possible. There is no end to it. So that's what is this verse about. And again, there is another verse from 6th canto I was looking at today, and the 17th chapter is about Mother Parvati curses Chitraketu. And then after the curse, Lord Shiva speaks to Mother Parvati, and Chitraketu has accepted the curse, and with the folded hands, he is saying that happiness and distress are given by the demigods as the result of one's past deeds, and he happily accepts the curse, and then he completely depends on his own bhakti to the Lord. So then Lord Shiva speaks to Mother Parvati. He says to Mother Parvati that what is the greatness of the devotee. He actually glorifies Chitraketu's bhakti and his devotion to Lord. And then he says this verse, also verse number 32. Naham virincho na kumar naradau na brahmaputra munaya sureshah vidama yasye hitam amsakam saka na tat swarupam pratakisha maninah. Neither I, Lord Shiva, nor Brahma, nor the Ashwini Kumaras, nor Narada, or the other great sages who are Brahma's sons, nor even the demigods can understand the pastimes and personality of the Supreme Lord. Although we are part of the Supreme Lord, we consider ourselves independent, separate controllers, and thus we cannot understand his identity. I mean, this is the humility of Lord Shiva. He's saying here like they are independent, but no, this is the humility of devotees of the Lord. Even at that highly elevated level, they cannot fully understand or describe the glories of the Lord. And even in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says in the same verse, he quotes Brahma Samhita 5.33, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Nava Yauvanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhaktau Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda, who is the original person. He is absolute, infallible, and beginningless, and although expanded into unlimited forms, he is still the same original person, the oldest person who always appears as a fresh youth. The eternal, blissful, all-knowing forms of the Lord cannot be understood even by the best Vedic scholars, but they are always manifest to pure, unalloyed devotees. Lord Shiva places himself as one of the non-devotees who cannot understand the identity of the Supreme Lord. The Lord, being Ananta, has an unlimited number of forms. Therefore, how is it possible for an ordinary common man to understand him? Lord Shiva, of course, is above the ordinary human beings, yet he is unable to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this completely goes with the saying, we can understand, and this also actually follows the theme of the next verse. Here, Srila Prabhupada completely says, right. See, but they are always manifest to pure, unalloyed devotees. So, the Lord's glories manifest to pure, unalloyed devotees. So, we will see the next verse. It is completely in sync with that, what Srila Prabhupada says in the verse of the purport of the 6th canto. So, we will see this. येषां स एष भगवान् दयेदनन्ता सर्वात्मनाश्रितपदो यदि निर्व्यलीकम् ते दुस्तरामतितरन्ति च देवमायाम् नैषां ममाहमिति धीश्वशृगालभक्ष्ये. But anyone who is specifically favored by the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, due to unalloyed surrender unto the service of the Lord, can overcome the insurmountable ocean of illusion and can understand the Lord. But those who are attached to this body, which is meant to be eaten at the end by dogs and jackals, cannot do so. And there is a purport if anyone wants to read, or I can read. So the purport is, The unalloyed devotees of the Lord know the glories of the Lord in the sense that they can understand how great the Lord is and how great is his expansion of diverse energy. Those who are attached to the perishable body can hardly enter into the realm of the science of Godhead. The whole materialistic world, based on the conception of the material body as the self, is ignorant of the science of God. The materialist is always busy working for the welfare of the material body, not only his own, but also those of his children, kinsmen, community men, countrymen, etc. The materialists have many branches of philanthropic and altruistic activities from a political, national, and international angle of vision. But none of the field can go beyond the jurisdiction of the misconception of identifying the material body with the spirit soul. Unless, therefore, one is saved from the wrong conception of the body and the soul, there is no knowledge of Godhead. And unless there is knowledge of God, all advancement of material civilization, however dazzling, should be considered failure. So here also Srila Prabhupada wonderfully explains here that the unalloyed devotees of the Lord know the glories of the Lord in the sense that they can understand how great the Lord is and how great is his expansion of diverse energy. So till now in the last two verses, Brahma said that it is impossible for me or you or your elder brothers, even Ananta Shesha, to understand Krishna's glories completely. Now, in this verse, he is saying that because you can't understand Krishna completely, that does not mean that you cannot understand Krishna to some degree. Yes, you can. But say, for example, there is a very rich person, he is a multi-billionaire, and he has many, many properties all over the globe in so many countries. He has so much land, he has so many properties, companies, employees all over the place. So he can't remember or he cannot fully understand at a time what is his turnover, what is his profit. To that gigantic level, he has everything spread out. So when you ask him, then he might be able to give some highlights, but he may not be able to give detail of everything. So if that's the situation of a very materially wealthy person, then here we are speaking about Krishna. Krishna has literally unlimited expansions, glories, wealth, and pastimes. So it's just not possible. But for one who can understand that Lord Krishna to some degree, at least to a considerable extent, he can understand when he has bhakti and when the Lord reveals himself to the person. So, one needs devotional service bhakti, and then he needs mercy of the Lord. So, by unpretentious nirvyalikam, pure bhakti, one can attract the mercy of Lord Krishna, and then one can understand Krishna to some degree, and then one can cross the material world. So here in this verse, in the first line, it says, Yesham sa esha bhagavan daye dananta. That unlimited, powerful, potent, supreme Lord has unlimited mercy. And when can we understand him? The second line is Sarvatmana Shritapado Yadi Nirvyalikam. So with all our might, if we take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, then we can understand him. And this refers to 922 Bhagavad Gita. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. And also 1866 Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Ma Shuchaha. So if our surrender is nirvyalikam, see in this verse the word nirvyalikam is very important. Because nirvyalikam, what it means? It means there is no pretension, there is no duplicacy, there is no hypocrisy. one does not have any selfish agenda while worshipping the Lord, and he does not have any personal desires. So his bhakti is ahetuki. So this word nirvyalikam, avyalikam, gatavyalikam comes often in Srimad Bhagavatam, and in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna uses the word ananya lot of times, ananya. So there is ananya chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate words, right? Then ananya cheta satatam yo mam smarati nityasaha 8.14. So what Ananya means is no deviation, no distraction, and complete focus on Krishna only. And Srimad Bhagavatam Nirvyalikam word comes often, which means no duplicity, no ulterior motive. And it's complete, honest, and no diplomatic, unpretentious, plain, straightforward, without any expectations. One performs service to Krishna. That is Nirvyalikam, pure bhakti. So that's what it means. And then Sarvatmana Shrita. If you take exclusive shelter of Krishna without any pretensions, then you will be able to understand Krishna to some degree. Whatever is required, you will understand that much. So whatever you are required to know about Krishna will be known to you to the degree your surrender to Krishna is nirvyalikam, unpretentious or pure. To that degree, Krishna will reveal himself. So that is his mercy and that is his choice. Krishna is not obliged to reveal himself to just anyone, but one who is surrendered with pure intentions to serve and please him, Krishna will reveal himself to him. So the greatest achievement in our life is not to become rich or famous, but actually the real achievement is if we can achieve this, which is to, I mean, speaking about myself, to love and serve Krishna with absolutely no expectation, with complete selfless love. And that is the greatest achievement of our life that will definitely go with us and stay with us. So even Srila Prabhupada says that, for example, someone is living in a palace and he says, okay, I'm now detached, I will renunciate the palace and go to the forest. But because he left the palace and went to forest, it's not that he is a renunciant, because the palace never belonged to him and the forest also doesn't belong to him. Everything belongs to Krishna. So what belongs to us is our little free will and independence we have, how we use it. And our aham mameti, here Krishna says in these words, mamaham iti, right? Aham mameti, I and mine. This is what we have. We think that we possess everything, everything is in our possession. This is mine, this is I. So when we give up that false ego, then that is the greatest achievement. That is what we need to renunciate and let go of, because that small free will and independence is given to us. So when we let go of that false ego and use the free will in Krishna's service, then actually we are renunciant, even living as a grihastha. So when we know that all belongs to Krishna, and when we have that consciousness, then that is the greatest achievement. So here in this verse, obviously it says that you will attract Krishna's mercy if you have unpretentious surrender, and then you can cross over or surpass this difficult material energy of the Lord. So this verse is very much in sync with the verse Daivi hi esha gunamai mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapatyante maya metam tarantite. We can see that Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, they always confirm each other, all the verses. And again, here in the last line, it says, Nesha mamaham itidhi shrugal bhakshe. So this shrugal bhakshe is a bit, it's very harsh. What it says is that those people who surrender selflessly, they will attract Krishna's mercy, no doubt, and they will surpass Maya, but not those people who have the conception of mama and aham, who have this I and mine in the materialist, like this here, Kali Yuga mentality, then they will be Svashrugal Bhakshye. Those who have bodily conception of life, they will be eaten by dogs and jackals. So Shva and Shugal, dogs and jackals. So only three things we can understand from here is that it's possible that after death, the dead body is abandoned and the dogs and jackals and vultures will eat, and then it will be converted to its stool. Or the last line can also be understood as that it's a possibility that when the body is buried underground, it will be eaten by insects and the body will become insects. And lastly, when the body is burnt into fire, it will turn to ashes. So there are the three destinations of body. It becomes either ashes, earthworm, or stool of dogs and jackals. But for a devotee, he goes to Supreme Personality of Godhead, or he comes back in a very spiritually favorable situation to complete the bhakti and sadhana practices. So he is given again another wonderful opportunity to go back to Godhead in human form. So this is the verse actually that by this verse is by unpretentious surrender, by nirvyalikam surrender, one can attract the mercy of the Lord, understand Krishna to some degree, and go back to Godhead. And even the verse where it says the surrender. So the last thing was how you will go back to Godhead. So there are two beautiful verses also in the fourth canto. Krichro mahaniha bhavanava aplavesham tadvarkana krama sukhena titira shanti tattvam harer bhagavato bhajaniya mangrim kritvodupam vyasanamuttara. It means that the ocean of nescience is very difficult to cross because it is infested with many dangerous sharks. Although those who are non-devotees undergo severe austerities and penances to cross that ocean, we recommend that you simply take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are like boats for crossing the ocean. Although the ocean is difficult to cross, by taking shelter of his lotus feet, you will overcome all the dangers. And how that ocean we can overcross such a big ocean, because it will become as small as the calf's hoof print, and that is this verse in 10th canto. Samashritaye padapallavam mahatpadam punya yasho murarehe bhavam budhirvatsa padam param padam yat vipadam natesham. For those who have accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Murari, the enemy of the Mura demon, the ocean of the material world is like the water contained in a calf's hoof print. Their goal is Parampadam, Vaikuntha, the place where there are no material miseries, not the place where there is danger at every step. So the big ocean will become so condensed, it will become as small as the calf's hoof print, and thus a devotee will be able to cross over it by the mercy of the Lord and by the guidance of Guru. So that is today's these three beautiful verses. If you have anything to add or comment or correct, please go ahead. But thank you so much for this opportunity to glorify Krishna. And please forgive if I made any mistakes. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Okay, so we will conclude for today. We have completed in good time. It is also 8:44. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for the wonderful
Thank you.
class. And
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mata, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gaurangi. Very nice class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Krishnangi Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.